Welcome back to the Matter of Facts podcast on the Prepper Broadcasting Network. We talk prepping, guns, and politics every week on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify. Go check out our content at mwfpodcast.com on Facebook or Instagram. You can support us via Patreon or by checking out our affiliate partners. I'm your host, Phil Rabalais. Andrew and Nick are on the other side of the mic, and here's your show. Welcome back to Matter of Facts podcast. Phil's here, Nick's here. We have a topic. We have admin work to do first. We have a couple of miscreants in the chat, two of which we are related to by marriage.
Yes.
I would like to think they'll be the voice of reason in the room.
They're not in the room.
The
chat.
Yes, the chat.
Voice of reason in the chat.
Although they could enter the rooms. Mine is shouting at me through the walls. But I can't hear what she's saying because I have headphones on.
Good. That's probably a wise choice. Just turn the volume up until you can't tell she's yelling.
She's Sicilian and Scottish. I don't think such a volume exists.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's theoretically a line between like where my extraordinarily damaged hearing gives out and her voice gives out, and I'm pretty sure they overlap.
They might.
She said, yes, we are.
Damn.
What?
Oh, I just dropped the fidget thing I play around with to keep my hands from doing strange things on air. I have to have something to play with. I have
a mouse for that.
I have a quiet one. I have a ratchet that's very loud. An old Craftsman. I have a bunch of random things on my desk, but this is the only one that's quiet that I can fidget with.
Yeah. I appreciate the thought. Let's do admin work, and then let's talk about why Canada has screwed up your plans.
Damn Canadians.
If you'd like to promote bad decisions by becoming a patron, that link is in the show description. You can join one of the nearly 30 patrons who support this podcast and support our bad decision making, and most importantly, provide us endless amusement by stoking fires of awful financial decisions.
Yes.
I have personally bought night vision and a shotgun on the back of these bunch of fools. Mm-hmm. And Nick is stubbornly refusing to follow suit. He wants to be an adult and build a shop.
Technically, yes, I'm going to build a machine shop.
But you're going to use it to make irresponsible decisions.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I don't know how you could ever consider a crank-powered 22 Gatling gun a responsible choice. Because it's number one, it's not useful for anything.
I argue that
turning money into noise.
See, it has a use. Turning money into noise and happiness.
That's fair.
Have you ever seen anyone with a Gatling gun that was mad?
Not personally.
See,
I would imagine there's definitely some indige somewhere that's noticed a guy who was very angry with a Gatling gun.
But deep down inside, he was enjoying every second of it.
I mean, probably. Nobody else was, but he was.
But see, that proves my theory. The one guy with the Gatling gun was enjoying every second of it, and everybody that didn't have a Gatling gun was enjoying none of it. So Gatling gun,
everyone needs a Gatling gun.
Everyone needs a Gatling gun.
That's fair.
If you'd like to buy merch for the Vibes from the Southern Gals, that link is also in the show description. Unfortunately, the offerings do not include 22 LR Gatling guns.
Nope.
Not unless you want to go into business making black powder cannons or something.
Look, man, it takes about... So the average person that undertakes this project, and there's actually a forum full of people that do, it's 2 to 5 years. For most hobbyist machinists to get their first successful test firing because of how many components are in it.
You can do it in 6 months. I have faith in you.
If I didn't have a job, yeah, but I mean, it's buddy, I'll send you the blueprints. It's not an insignificant amount of work, and I still have to build 5 more tools. No, I still have to build 5 more tools before I can even start the project. Because I need a lot of tooling and fixturing.
I was going to say, you have to finish a renovation before you start the project.
I have to finish a renovation. I should also probably finish the legal fight with the county to build the garage.
Yeah, Raggle saying that we remind him of Sea Hag Munitions. I actually met the gentleman, spent a weekend shooting with him at a Project Appleseed event. John is a ton of fun.
I've spoken with him a couple of times online. He has some stock laying around. If you reach out to him and you want something, he might have it. But apparently, just the legal costs of trying to maintain the business, it just wasn't, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze for how much he was selling.
Well, and it's also worth pointing out that, like, so again, I've met John, hung out with him for a weekend. If you've ever seen him on his social media and you got the impression for the briefest moments that maybe that was like a persona, it's not. That is John.
Not at all. Yeah, that's
Is
100% him.
He is every bit as like fun loving and borderline unhinged. He's like a child that physically grew up and mentally still wants to dress up like a pirate and chase his younger brother around the house like for the rest
He's
of his
our
life.
kind of people.
Oh, nothing I'm saying about him is bad. He's hilarious and he's awesome and he is super super passionate about everything he does. But I think personally, and like this is not me putting words in his mouth. It's just my suspicion. But I suspect once CHAG got to a certain point, like you said, like the legalities involved made it not fun anymore.
Not fun and not financially solvent. I think is the way he explained it. The way he explained it to me was that the costs to maintain the company once it got to a certain size, the sales wouldn't support it growing to the point where it would be self-sustaining.
Yeah.
At that size. And look, man, most small businesses fail for that exact same reason. Once you cross a certain threshold out of like hobbyist territory where, yeah, you're making a little bit of money at it, but to make that next step where you're actually supporting yourself with it and potentially employees is a huge gulf to crack through.
Yeah, and it's the having to make enough money to hire the employees that makes it somewhat bearable in the long term.
Right.
But now the business has to make enough money not just support you, but support them too. Like I totally understand that.
Yeah,
I will say this much. Did you ever see the medium sized cannon that he built, the Calypso?
Yeah.
I was in attendance when that thing got touched off. That was fun. You could feel your molars wiggle.
I bet you could. I've got some continuous cast high strength steel pipe that I should be able to make a golf ball scale swivel gun with it. So I gotta make a couple more tools to make that too. I gotta make a longer boring bar, but
you have to finish a renovation first.
I have a lot of things that I need to do. Speaking of which, let's see here. There it is. God damn it, Canada.
Wait a second. You skipped over my favorite sponsor.
Oh, do that.
If you like to prevent war crimes with Disaster Coffee, the code is MOF. This is your weekly reminder to go buy coffee because it will make you happier than otherwise.
Yes.
Now, please explain to me how the Canadians have screwed up your day.
So for those of you that aren't aware, the Canadian wildfires have yet again fucked up summer for quite a lot of the Midwest. Last couple of days, we've been in the not healthy area of smoke. And today it's gotten as high as in some places near Chicago, like 900 parts per million.
Nice.
Which is off the scale of bad. I think, what was it? 250 or 300 is where they start calling it don't go outside. 500 is where they say even healthy people don't spend more than a few minutes outside in it. 900 is you're going to have health effects inside. It's like, God damn it, Canada. Can you just like put out your wildfires or, I don't know, back burn them and just burn the thing out quicker? I mean, for Christ's sake, California doesn't make this much of a fuss. Why do you have to?
Because if they back burn the woods, it angers the greenies.
Look, I'm done caring what the greenies think for a lot of things because most of these same greenies are also the ones preventing us from doing things like, look at that, completely pretty much safe nuclear power. Let's see, mining the rare earths that we need for the green car batteries that they all want us to have. Let's see. Oh, but they're very pro data
child labor in the third world to mine.
Oh yeah, they're fine with slavery as long as it's in Africa. The slavery.
Yeah,
as long as they're completely fine with these data centers that are just going to catastrophically destroy large swaths of our environment. Like, I'm
the
sorry.
ones that are already poisoning the water supply and causing huge droughts all across West Texas. Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
funny
Like,
how that works.
look, I'm sorry, but the Greenpeace hippie bullshit, it was bullshit when they first started it back in the 50s and 60s. It was
You mean when
all
they were hammering spikes into trees
right.
to prevent logging, which also killed the tree in the process?
Kills the tree, injures workers, destroys equipment, costs more money and time, and more negative environmental impacts.
You know, a guy I used to know, he had a term for people like this. He called them hypocrites.
Yep.
Because everything they claim to stand for, they intentionally or unintentionally F up.
Yeah, they do. They screw it all up no matter what they try to do, which is just ridiculous. I'm sorry, but I have no faith that these supposedly Greenpeace people have any good intentions, because everything they do turns out dog shit. No, yeah, we gotta do wind. Yeah, how's that going? Ah, right, it's killing massive swaths of migratory birds. The fiberglass blades, they don't last 50 years. They really last more like 15.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the solar panels. Yeah, great fucking job with that until a hailstorm comes through, smashes them all to shit. Now you've got to replace the whole field and you've poisoned the groundwater. Good job, boys. Well fucking done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's back to the wildfires. All the Greenpeace hippie bullshit of protecting the forest and not letting them burn back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. This is what we reap now because of your Greenpeace hippie bullshit.
My personal favorite, though, is the on-again, off-again love affair with electric vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, there was a time before the Orange Man and the TVs told everybody that Elon Musk was a Nazi,
True.
where all the freaking greenies just could not wait to finance a freaking Tesla, an $80,000 Tesla at like
I bought it
50%
before Elon
interest.
bought Twitter, the bumper sticker. Yeah, because that makes it any better, you dipshit.
Yeah. But they could not wait to commit financial suicide buying this fucking overpriced golf cart. And then the minute the TV told them otherwise, they couldn't help themselves but to very quickly unload or deface their own vehicle. That was $80,000 that depreciated 75% in the first 6 months. Now people can't give the damn things away.
Mm-hmm. Look, I think electric vehicles make a lot of sense for a very specific segment of the population. They do.
Does that very specific segment include people that like apparently can't figure out how to wash their ass without instructions?
No, it does not. It's mostly well, actually, yes. 9 to 5 office workers. A lot of 9 to 5 office workers. That their only thing they do with that vehicle is commuting to and from work and getting groceries.
Yeah, the ones who often cannot or will not put a supercharger station at their homes because their homes don't have enough available power reserve, and the ones who are lined up around charging stations every morning and every afternoon, and the ones that just cannot help themselves. So it would be a gigantic pain in everyone else's ass because they have to have the one thing that doesn't run on the liquid dinosaur juice that every other goddamn thing on Earth runs on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Look, electric vehicles do have a point. They do. I think they do. And I think there is a very valid use case for them. The problem is the battery tech. It always has been the battery tech, and it probably will be the battery tech for at least the next 10 to 15 years.
And as bad as the battery
tech...
they
do more damage to the environment when you crash one of those bastards and they light on fire every day for the next 3 weeks.
So here's the thing. 2 things. It's not 3 things, actually. The 3 things that make EVs freaking stupid, and I will stand on business for this. A is from a standpoint of like manufacturability, recyclability, and everything else. 9 out of 10 of these stupid things are built in such a way that it is almost impossible or completely impossible to service the battery pack without cutting the car in half.
Correct.
So the whole idea that like you could buy a car, you could pay it off, you can drive it until the wheels come off. And I understand that modern Americans cannot get past this idea where I have to trade up every 3 years, if that. That in and of itself is dumb to me, but whatever. But now you don't even have the option with an EV because the freaking thing is basically a laptop battery with 4 wheels on it. And as soon as the batteries start pitching hissy fits, you can't push a button, slide it out, slide a new one in. You're just screwed. And that is why they depreciate as fast as they do, because everyone knows that at a certain amount of time, they're going to completely go tits up. Two is the fact that they are predicated on an infrastructure for charging that does not exist to this day.
Mm-hmm. Now, there are some cities where I will say it does exist, like LA, San Francisco.
But I do not accept that as a reasonable alternative, because you can go to Pig's Knuckle, Alabama, and find a gas station.
Oh, absolutely.
If your entire strategy behind using this electric vehicle is predicated on, I can only use it in this major city where there's a supercharger station every 5 blocks, then to me that is not a rational or reasonable decision, because it means that the one time I deviate from this very narrow little window where this thing works, it doesn't work anymore, and that's dumb.
Right.
There is a nationwide series of gas stations. There's a nationwide series of transporting fuel. It's an infrastructure that's been built and been in place for generations, and it works. And until something works appreciably better, I don't see any reason.
Well, it's the same early adopter problem you get with most things, right? It's the early adopter issue. And yes, there are going to be people that are going to adopt it way before the technology is in my opinion, truly viable. And it's only barely marginally viable now.
But here's my third point, and Rag will kind of hit on it. And it's something that even early adopter doesn't overshadow.
Nope.
It's the fact that when one of these things inevitably catches fire, and they do
a lot
occasionally.
Well, they do a lot. Whether it's when they're in a flood, they catch fire. When they're in a flood, they catch fire. When they're improperly charged, they catch fire.
And we do not have in place nationwide good, repeatable mechanisms to extinguish that fire.
We don't have, even in the localized areas where they're extremely popular, have a reliable way to stop them from catching fire. Because guess what happens? 3 days after you put them out, it catches fire again in the junkyard.
Mm-hmm.
Look, these rare earths, the reason why we're using them in the car batteries is because they're extremely volatile. That allows them to store an incredible amount of energy in a very dense package. Now, there are battery techs that are coming out now, the carbon nanotube batteries, the Life Pro batteries, there's a few others. But
I know the salt batteries have been showing some promise.
The salt batteries, yeah, they're showing some promise. But look, until we hit upon a type of battery technology that doesn't spontaneously catch fire every time it's damaged, it's going to be a problem. Now, do gasoline vehicles occasionally catch fire? Yeah, they do. But
yeah, Olivia kind of hit on it. You going to try to prevent the spread and just let it burn itself out,
and then evacuate the area because of the toxic gas that it creates. Acidic smoke.
Burning lithium is not fun stuff to be around. Who'da thunk?
Yep.
Anyway, all that to say that, like, I personally appreciate the tech involved in EVs. I get the appeal. I personally don't like the driving experience, but the idea
I don't know. I've driven one of the EV trucks and she pops. I'll give it that. There's a lot of acceleration in that truck, but it's useless for truck things.
Yeah, the Ford, the F-150 Lightning that came out, that was
it's 0 to 60 is phenomenal.
That's phenomenal, but if you actually do truck things with it, it's got like a 45-mile range.
I think so. Towing a 40-foot box trailer full of landscaping equipment, they were able to, I want to say it was 75 miles on a full charge. It was 75 miles. So my Ram 1500 will do 400 miles with that same trailer.
Unless it's cold outside, and then they just discharge themselves sitting in the driveway.
There is that. Yeah.
Olivia, the door jams will not come with cancer sticker warnings because that would clue the greenies in that they've been had.
I don't know. There's a lot of evidence to suggest Prop 65 warning labels should be on every electric car. They come on your gas-powered vehicle.
I'm not holding my breath. That would involve somebody in California having common sense, and I'm fairly sure that that's been firmly stamped out.
I mean, I hear Northern California has, normal people.
Yes, Northern California that is ruled over by Southern California as if it is a medieval fiefdom.
Because it is. They're their tax cattle. Like, what do you expect?
I expect them to finally get annoyed enough that they overthrow their overlords.
That would be great. We're
That'd be
working on it in
hilarious.
Illinois. We are working on kicking Chicago and Cook County and several of the other collar counties out of the state into their own state. We're going to make Illinois better with blackjack and hookers and no Chicago. It'll be fantastic.
That all sounds like a bucket of fun to me. Can I contribute ammo?
No, we're looking at doing it like through law, through just the counties joining together and seceding. Supposedly there is a legal way to do it in the Illinois state constitution. So,
oh, Nick, that is adorable to think that you think that is still an option. Look, I don't know that I believe it anymore.
Look, I would rather not have a shooting war in Illinois. Honestly, this place is a pain in the ass enough as it is without that much more gunfire crossing between the streets.
I was about to say, Nick, say that sentence one more time.
I mean, it's that much more gunfire. I mean, at least now, it's
the one before
Chicago.
that. The one before that.
Illinois is
I would rather not have
a shooting war in Illinois. I don't remember what I said.
Like every Saturday night in Chicago.
Yeah, but that's all in Cook County for the most part. Like, other than St. Louis and Cook County, we really don't have a gun violence issue in Illinois. I mean, Rockford gets spicy some nights, but not nearly that bad.
In other words, just like the rest of the country, where if you take like just a couple of these big metro areas out of the equation, there's not a gun violence problem in the United States.
Yeah, it's almost like it's an organized crime problem and not a gun problem.
That sounds way too commonsensical.
Yeah, but, the police aren't going to do anything about the organized crime because that's dangerous.
Yeah. But they'll show up if you try to do something about the organized crime problem.
Depends on the neighborhood. Depends on the neighborhood because, those... So, are you familiar with the shot spotter systems?
Yes.
Do you want to know what percentage of shot spotter notifications in Chicago actually get police dispatched to them?
5%?
3%. Last time I checked, it was 3%. They checked 3%. Now, about 10% of them get reported via a 911 call. So, police aren't showing up to stop them. They're probably not showing up to stop you either. Not that I advocate for vigilantism, but look, it seems like they're just not doing their job. Oh, yes, we put the shot spotter out there so we can find everyone who's doing illegal gun stuff inside the city limits.
Yeah.
They only show up.
It's like that meme I keep seeing show up on it. That meme I keep seeing show up on Instagram says, "No one is coming to save you," also means no one is coming to stop you.
Did I send you the one of the guy in full plate mail mowing his lawn?
I didn't get to see it before the show.
Okay.
I was furiously trying to finish cleaning up after dinner.
I sent you a lot of memes today at work.
You have. Although I still think the Mad Marks one I sent you, that was Blue Ribbon Prize winner.
That was pretty stellar.
I showed my wife, and like 15 seconds into it, she said, "Oh, I hate her."
Nice.
Okay. Topic. Y'all keep talking to the machines.
Yes.
Now,
and as we know, AI is heresy.
My mistrust of AI is well-founded because I grew up watching and reading Dune and Terminator.
Bro, we're 3 years away from the machine rising.
All I'm saying is my entire childhood was spent being told that if y'all keep talking to the machines, I either end up being a warlord or the leader of the resistance. Mm-hmm. So,
or understand that is skull and a manufacturer.
Or, I mean, that comes after the resistance. That's many thousand years in the future. I won't be around for all that.
Maybe.
Although we do have bolters now.
We do. We also have people using human brains to play Doom. Because that seems like a great idea. Well, human neural tissue anyway.
That's kind of based, actually?
No, it's not. Okay, great. We took human brain tissue, cloned it, and sent it into the video game version of hell. There's no way that ends positively.
I didn't say positively. It could be entertaining, though.
Yeah, I guess. You do realize that's like the Butlerian Jihad was all about human brains in a robot chassis trying to enslave the galaxy. Like every single hard and soft sci-fi setting has AI going rogue and trying to murder us all. Like, wow.
There might be a thing there. But one of our listeners does not share my predilections for mistrusting AI. And Mark asked Claude to design a 100-round pistol drill plan, which I found to be an interesting use of AI. Like,
I think so.
If you think about it, AI is... So you and I have been very upfront about, like, we don't consider AI to be intelligent. It's an information aggregator.
It is. And in this case, I would say if it's taking, say, a brute force look at all of the different pistol drills, let's assume it did the job he asked it to do, which we don't know for sure.
But since I thought ahead and loaded all this into a spreadsheet, so or into a PowerPoint, so we'd have easy access to it. The prompt he asked, and I'm paraphrasing only slightly, was to pretend it was Jeff Cooper and Ron Avery. And Jeff Cooper I'm very familiar with. Ron Avery not so much.
Same.
And it was given the problem of designing the best pistol drill layout for only 100 rounds of ammunition. That was the prompt.
That was the prompt.
Kind of like broad strokes.
Did it do what he asked? I will say, kind of. I did not have very high hopes for this, but I was not horribly disappointed.
Yeah, so let's go through first what Claude cooked up based on his prompt, and then I'm sure at the end of that you and I might have some critiques, but that is kind of proofing out the fact that, like, AI can do okay work, but might need a little bit of a kick in the butt here and there.
And this is definitely coming from a non-professional source. I am not a professional pistol shooting instructor. Neither is Phil. I'm a very enthusiastic amateur. All right.
Yeah. So the governing principle was, without a timer, use surprise break accountability. Push your draw and press as fast as you can while calling your shot. Pre-range to dry fire before loading a single round. 10 minutes to dry fire to draw out the first shot. Trigger reset. Press out to compressed ready. Yada, yada, yada. All right. 3 yards. It's calling for... Let me just get through this whole first page, and then we'll take a pause. 3 yards, press out isolation. 7 yards, draw to one shot, call it. 7 yards, Mozambique failure drill. 5 to 7 yards,
ball and dummy. If you're not familiar with that one, Phil, ball and dummy is where you throw a dummy round randomly or two into the magazine.
Chuck a snap kit in every now and then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Similar to a malfunction drill.
And then 25-yard precision draw. All right. So going through this first drill that they're recommending is literally just, like, in my opinion, a pretty standard draw, press out, take a deliberate shot.
Yep.
Start at compress ready, drive at full extension, break the shot the instant the front sight bisects the target, re-index to compress ready, and repeat. Push progressively faster each set of 5. So it's calling for 3 sets of 5 rounds.
I'm going to save my comment for the end. I'll save my critique.
Okay. I mean, personally, I've done this before.
Sure.
I find it to be a fairly standard, kind of low-hanging fruit, but I mean, it's not a bad pistol.
No. It's a good drill. My criticism is not of the drill itself.
Okay. Then we'll unpack that at the end.
Go for it.
Draw to one shot. So draw, fire one shot, verbally or mentally call the shot before you look at the target. I question whether or not that's a useful drill for a beginner, although this is probably more aimed at, like, novice branching towards expert. Because, like, we've talked before about the ability to call a shot is kind of hit or miss at a certain skill level.
Look, I'll tell you this. If you are attempting to push speed, you are not going to have a perfect sight picture to be able to call where that shot should have gone. Now, I've seen the call it drills where you have a number of targets in front of you and you are actively in your head calling out, okay, second from the left, as you pick your target, to force you to think while you're doing it, or have a buddy with you that calls out which target you're supposed to shoot as you're presenting the firearm. This one I've never really done personally, number 2. But I've had it where a buddy was calling either what part of the target I was to shoot or which target I was to shoot.
Yeah, so I've never done this trying to call my shots. I mean, this is not dissimilar from what I do with a Mantis a lot of times. Is just draw from concealment or draw from holster, get to the first shot as quickly as possible. I do like the fact that we're actually like separating out 10 rounds deliberately slow, 10 rounds smooth and fluid, and then 10 rounds push it until the wheels come off.
Yeah.
Like, I like the fact that you were kind of installing roadblocks for the training purpose of go slower than you need to, work on your form, and then introduce some speed, but still keep it fluid. And then that last 10 rounds, we're pushing as hard as we're pushing as fast as we can while still be safe, because we're trying to make the wheels come off the bus.
Yeah, you're trying to get to the point of where accuracy breaks down.
Yeah. And I frankly, I think that's important. Like, I think that for a lot of people that shoot flat range, we have that hesitation about pushing harder and harder and harder. Like, we get it in our heads that the goal is always to put all the rounds into this tiny little group, but that's not defensive shooting. Defensive shooting is, I need this magazine emptied as fast as possible while still getting all the bullets where they need to go.
I will say the one thing I disagree with Cooper on is his shots outside of the A zone means you outran your skill. Look, a B zone hit is still a vital zone hit.
B zone is still going to drop a target.
Assuming it hits a critical organ, eventually it will drop a target. Now,
the only thing I will counter that with, and like, this is from personal experience, but like, the average person does not, under pressure, perform to the maximum level they train to.
I agree.
In other words, like, which
is why you have to train with pressure.
But therein lies the thing: if you train to A zone hits, then under pressure, with adrenaline, with with everything go working against you, you should shoot down to B zone hits. If you train to A zone, as opposed to train at B zone, now you might be dropping outside the B zone. Like, that's the only alibi I can give to that standard.
I think it depends on at what level of stress you are training yourself. So, for instance, one of my shooting instructors' favorite drills was wind sprints, and then shots on against the clock, shots racing another person while you're racing a sprint against the other person. So you've got your adrenaline going, you've got your heart rate going, you've got your breathing a little bit out of control, at least for most of us, because most of us were not athletes. We were kind of, I think most of us were mid-20s to early 40s, reasonably out of shape dudes, running sprints down a pistol range. Usually it was, say it was a 50-yard range, because we were usually on the rifle range. It was usually 2 to 3 laps down and back, and then it was a 10-shot course of fire over a number of targets, racing against a guy doing the exact same thing. So it depends on the amount of stress you're adding to your training, I would say.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't disagree with you. Like I said, that is the only alibi I can give, is that if you train to a certain standard, even if you don't live up to that standard in the heat of the moment with the adrenaline flowing, you're still. It's the old adage in the precision circles of, if you aim for an inch, you might miss by an inch.
Right.
If you aim for a foot, you're going to miss by a foot.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just the idea that, like, we're going to hold ourselves to this. I don't want to call it unrealistic, but this excessive accuracy standard.
Yeah, the highest standard possible.
Yes, exactly.
That's fair. I just think that in some circles you see this insistence that if you're not maintaining premium accuracy in a scenario where you are stressing yourself and you are pushing yourself, saying that it's no longer being productive, I don't think is useful.
I'll agree with that. I will also say that it's 7 yards. I mean, I personally never The only time I train at 7 yards is if I'm shooting my J frame.
Really?
And yeah, I mean, if I'm shooting like my double stack 9 mils, I'm shooting at usually 12 to 15 yards.
So I like to, if I in my perfect range, in the places I like to shoot, I have targets at usually 3, 5, 7, and 10. I will have targets at a variety of distances and a variety of size targets at those distances.
I guess I've just never felt the need to train at that short of a range with most guns, because like at that short of a range, to me, it is too simple a task to attain what I would consider to be reasonable accuracy. And by pushing the target further and further out, I am increasing the rate. I'm increasing the visibility of when I screw up.
Sure, that's fair. I suppose what I'm not necessarily training for the screw ups at those ranges. What I'm training is my cognitive processing of a variety of targets at a variety of ranges.
I see what you're saying.
So, like, for instance, we'll have a blue target at 3, we'll have a blue target at 10, we'll have a red target at 3, we'll have a red target at 5, and it's blue far, blue close. It's making you think while you're shooting.
It's like dot torture.
Similar to dot torture
with live fire.
Similar to the dot torture with live fire and with more movement as well.
That's fair.
So not only you're moving, you're shooting, you're thinking all together.
Yeah. All right. Mozambique at 7 yards. 2 fast shots to the thoracic. Hard visual shift to the head. 1 precise shot. 7 strings of 3 rounds. I will say that I'm going to like kind of beat myself to the punchline. I really have no criticisms about including a Mozambique in anyone's shooting.
I like any drill that makes you think while you're doing it.
I like drills that to me seem like somewhat based in reality. And like, I cannot ever remember a time when I was in the military where we were like intentionally trained to only take 1 shot at a target. Yeah. It was shoot at the target until the target stops running towards you.
Shoot it to the ground.
Yep. Shoot it until it stops misbehaving. So I like the idea that we're kind of like building into a shooting drill, the idea that like you are going to double tap this target at a minimum, and then you're going to just tap the brakes for just a second, line up that 3rd shot, and then take it.
Yeah, I do like a Mozambique drill. The one thing I will say about it is do not exclusively train Mozambique drills or like multiple 3, 4, 5 shots of fire on a single target drills, because what I would hate to see a training scar built that caused you to do yourself dirty in a court of law later.
Yeah.
You know, it's
don't ever do the same drill over and over and over and over to begin with. Like you really want to break things up and introduce some variety in your training, because the goal here is not to train one skill until we can look cool doing it on Instagram in front of our buddies. The goal here is to improve a skill set.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
All right, ball and dummy drill.
Love it.
I'll be the first to admit, any one of us that's been shooting enough has done this at least once unintentionally because of bad ammunition.
Yep. I've done it in the middle of a match because of bad ammunition.
Yeah. And I will say that like I personally I enjoy this because there is nothing that is more humbling than thinking to yourself, I know how to shoot. And then you watch that front sight dude go whoop when you drop the hammer and nothing happens.
Yep.
And I have heard like the inverse to this argument, which is like, well, anticipating the recoil isn't an issue because by the time you do whatever, the bullet should have left the barrel. Like I understand that.
If
but
that
I've also,
if that was true, then dry fire would not improve your shooting.
That there is that alternative though.
If dry fire works, which many nationally and internationally ranked shooters have proven that dry fire works, then you anticipating the recoil can deviate your shot.
And I will say this much. I personally have found it very, like, I know that the beginning of this drill stated like you should do some dry fire before you go through this course of fire.
Mhm.
I really like to do some dry fire the day before.
Yep.
Just to just try to knock the rust off, because like my goal when I go to the range is to be productive, is to use my ammunition wisely, it is to get in the reps with the noise, with the recoil that I cannot get at home.
Mm-hmm.
And if a couple of minutes dry fire ahead of time means that my range session is more productive, then it's saving me effort and time.
True.
All right, last but not least, 25-yard precision draw. After the speed work, the 25-yard line tells the truth about your fundamentals. No timer needed. The distance itself demands patience. Yes, Christ almighty, it does.
I mean, yes and no. I mean,
for the average pistol shooter.
I had my father-in-law who does not own a pistol and has only shot a pistol a handful of times, making 25-yard shots on a 6-inch gong regularly 2 weeks ago after 2 mags at the range.
I mean, this does say A-zone hits, so
I mean, A-zone hits. So what's A-zone? 3x6.
Damn to find out. I don't shoot at
3x6
silhouette targets
or
very
is
often.
it 4x8? Might be 4x8.
I mean, 4x8 is a reasonable size to hit at 25 yards.
Sure, it is, but it's also not. Look, it's
not unattainable.
It is not unattainable. It's fairly easily attained, especially if you're going for no time pressure. It's extraordinarily attainable.
Although I do find that, I find that putting something like this at the end of the drill probably works very well, because after this constant do the drill, accelerate, do the drill, accelerate, do the drill, accelerate, this forces you to at the end of all this, when you've had every opportunity to develop a bad habit or a flinch or something else that you can, not saying you should, but you can kind of write off as, well, I was intentionally pushing as fast as I could to make the wheels come off the bus. But then this forces you to slow all the way back down.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Well-aimed shots.
I think that's great. I don't think that a 25-yard pistol shot is that difficult to attain with modern firearms. I don't think it is.
On a 4x8 A-zone, I would agree with that.
I don't think it's that difficult to attain. I mean, maybe for an extremely new shooter that is not proficient with their equipment, maybe. I mean, so the drill I had a problem with. What was it, number 2?
No, you're going to force me to bring
throw that back up. Go back to number 2. Press out isolation. Okay. I don't have a problem with this drill in particular. What I have a problem with is I do not think 5 rounds is enough to productively induce building muscle memory and habits. I don't.
But
I realize.
But is it enough to confirm muscle memory after 10 minutes of dry fire practice?
It could be. When I go out to do holster work, a lot of times what I do is I dedicate the first 2 magazines, so 30 rounds, to draw from the holster, present the target, fire a shot, and then I will, usually for the first magazine, I do first shot on target in a fairly controlled and, I would say, slow pace. And then for the next magazine, I ramp up until I'm at my maximum speed. I don't really do round count limited training. I don't. I make my own ammunition at home. I usually have more than enough for my needs and a couple of buddies' needs with me at the range. I get why they're limiting this to the 15 rounds if you are that limited on ammunition. And I think what you could do is you could cut the last drill. Cut the 25-yard drill, because let's be honest here and very realistic. The most likely self-defense shooting is between 0 and 10 yards with less than 1 magazine of ammunition, which a lot of them presents the firearm, threat is ended. Okay. I think in the beginning, you would be better off taking that drill 5 take the ammunition out of that drill. So is that 20 rounds?
20 rounds.
Add those 20 rounds to that first drill. Or the second drill, in my opinion. It'd be press out isolation. Add them to the press out isolation drill. But I would like to see it done from the holster. So clear cover garment, draw in your steps, 4 to 5 steps, depending on how you break it down, depending on who trained you. Everybody has different names for the steps. Don't worry about it. As long as you are safely controlling the muzzle of the firearm through the entire draw stroke, pressing out, controlled trigger press, I think you will get more benefit out of that for most realistic and most common defensive shootings than you get out of a 25-yard precision shooting for a new person.
So I'm going to agree and disagree.
Fair enough. Go for it.
I would also scrap drill number 5.
Okay.
But what I want to see done with the 20 rounds is something completely different.
Okay.
I want to see you take 2 mags, load up 5 rounds each. So you're going to do this drill twice.
Mm-hmm.
And your goal is to put all 10 rounds into your target, say 10 yards. A little bit more than 7.
Sure.
Because that's
10's the extreme end of the more common self-defense shootings.
Yeah, but 10 is also like kind of one of the closer ranges I actually train at. Like, again, I will be the first to admit that my double action trigger press is nowhere near good enough to be taking 25-yard shots with a J-frame. And if y'all's is, that's cool. But I haven't met many people that can shoot.
That's why I don't own a double
yards.
action J-frame.
I mean, I'm just saying a little 15-ounce J-frame is not an easy gun to shoot well at distance.
No, it's not. And that's very fair, I think. It's not built to be an easy distance gun.
Yeah. But all that said, I would take those rounds. I want to see you put 5 rounds in each mag. Mm-hmm. I want to see you put all 10 rounds at 10 yards into the target as quickly as humanly possible while maintaining A-zone hits.
With a reload.
Goal here, with a reload. Now, the trick here is the way I personally do this is that I eschew the use of the rear sights completely. Mm-hmm. All I'm doing is I'm putting the front blade on the target, and every time that gun comes down at a recoil, as soon as that front blade goes to the middle of the target, you snap it again.
Yeah.
So your goal here is
point shooting.
Is a combination of point shooting, is a combination of recoil control, because the less the gun rises, the faster you can get it back down to target. But the idea is to figure out what your natural cadence is how fast I can shoot before I've got a bullet here and a bullet here and a bullet here and a bullet here.
That's fair.
A-zone hits and a reload. I want to see you be able to do that because we all know the statistics around self-defense shootings. Self-defense shootings are usually solved in one magazine, but I'm going to force you to do a reload. But they're solved at relatively short distances and very quickly. So
usually very low round counts.
Usually very low round counts. But the reason I say 5 rounds in a reload is because I really want to push this idea that we're reloading in a controlled but quick manner during training.
Yes.
And because of that, I'm not going to say like load your magazines full, dump 15 rounds in the target, then get a reload and do 15 more. I'm trying to stick to this 20 round maximum.
Now I will say this. If you are going to do a reload drill, I don't want to see that loaded magazine on a table. I want to see it wherever you carry that loaded magazine, exactly how you would carry it every day. For me,
that's fair.
It's weak side, bullets forward. Bullet tip, projectile tip forward. Index with index finger up into the mag wall. That's the way I was taught. That's the way my muscle memory works out. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, and we've talked about the fact that usually when I'm just out and around town, I don't carry a reload.
Sure.
I usually have a reload in my vehicle.
Fair.
I have a reload I have a reload at my home. But the idea, again, is I'm trying to break you up from just doing a mag dump into the target.
No, absolutely. I think that's smart because it trains a secondary skill, which is reloading, which is a skill we all need to be working on because reloads
constantly.
Fumbled reloads will lose you more gunfights and lose you more matches than you would want to believe. You can very easily drop a few seconds in a fumbled reload.
Yeah. Raggle saying that's why it's the backup pistol, I guess, talking about the J-frame.
Yeah.
And no, Stuart, I cannot start over.
Nope.
I cannot.
It's been 50 minutes. Empty. I can't start over.
My coffee is empty.
I have to work tomorrow, so I can't have a second old fashioned. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. But anyway, that's like I don't really have mega criticisms about this course of fire, and I'm not even super critical about the fact that it's capped to 100 rounds, because that does two things. For the person who's like trying to train on an ammo budget, 100 rounds is a reasonable amount of money.
Well, let's see. What's 1,000 rounds of 9mm cost right now?
While you're looking that up, but the other thing is time.
True,
because I can't speak for everybody. Like I am spoiled in the fact that my local go-to range charges you $10 to shoot all stinking day. But if your only option is, but if your only option is an indoor range where you're going to pay $15 to $20 per hour, if you can get all your training done in 1 hour, that now becomes another thing that, like, a self-imposed limit. Like, I don't want to have to pay for 2 hours at this range. Maybe you don't have 2 hours to spend. Like, I totally understand the idea of placing limits on our training time. And if we do that by round count or by time, whatever, I mean, it's the idea here is to get as much bang for the buck out of this training regimen.
And you know what? That works out. So CCI Blazer Brass 115 grains, which I'm not a big fan of, but they're
crappiest brass.
But it is cheap, it is available, and it is reliable. I've shot a lot of CCI Blazer Brass, and it's better than Winchester White Box. The brass sucks for reloading, but if you're not a reloading guy, go with the cheap brass or go with the Blazer aluminums. Whatever, it does not matter. 25 cents a round, you're talking $25 a training. I mean, around me, 20 to $30 is your average hour of range time if you have to pay for an indoor range. So you're talking a $50 to $70 range day. Pretty reasonable to get there once a month and do a 100-round drill.
But here's the trick. I know that, like, we haven't talked about in the show in a long time, but like when I very first started off on my little preparedness journey, I had just taken a 30% pay cut coming from one industry to start in another.
That hurts.
And when I tell you every dollar was precious, we lived and died by staying on budget. Like, I couldn't even make the amount of contribution to my IRA that I wanted because we just didn't have the available money. Like, it was a whole situation there for those first couple years. Now, obviously, things are better now. But at first, I had a literal, like, a line item in my monthly budget that was for ammo. And I could not spend more than that. So I understand that, you know, $65, $70 for a range day is not unreasonable. But if that's literally all you can spend, then that means going once a month instead of going once every other month.
Right. It's not a bad set of drills. I don't see anything in there that to me is you're doing yourself wrong following this training regimen. I think you can do better for yourself reorganizing and reallocating the ammo a little bit.
But considering AI cooked that up,
not bad.
I'm not unimpressed.
It's not terrible. It for a new shooter that doesn't have a trainer, that doesn't have an experienced gun person to go to. Honestly, not bad. They're not going to hurt them. They're not going to hurt their abilities following something like that.
No, not at all.
No.
So now the real question: how can AI help preparedness?
It can go to hell. Look,
other than that,
it can prevent several preparedness incidents from ever happening by avoiding the AI wars entirely.
Okay. So with the understanding that we are probably a couple of centuries off from the Butlerian Jihad or being turned into servo skulls.
We are 3 years away from the rise of Skynet, sir.
Okay.
That's why our fitness goals are important.
So in 2.5 years, you need to move down here so we can start the resistance together.
It's so hot down there. Even in a nuclear winter, it's so hot down there. I'm not.
It'll be nice and temperate when there's a nuclear winter, and the machines probably don't like the humidity.
That's fair, unless they're made of titanium, which they are. The T1000 has a titanium endoskeleton.
The T1000 was made of liquid metal. It had no endoskeleton.
That was the T2000. The T1000 was Schwarzenegger. T-1000 was Schwarzenegger. T-2000 was the one that could turn into the cop.
Nope, that was T-1000. The T-800 was Schwarzenegger.
Was it 800? Fuck, is my brain screwed up? Maybe I
Bruh.
haven't had enough bourbon to truly understand Skynet.
Who are you going to trust? I've been drinking coffee. You've been drinking old fashions.
To be fair, I stopped drinking coffee at like 4 this afternoon, so I'm still fairly caffeinated.
Okay. While we prime ourselves for what I have on the teleprompter, I'm going to make a note about how we need to have a whiskey-fueled conversation.
Stuart agrees with you. You're probably right.
Damn. Movies that predict the future.
Raggle, I will absolutely eat crawfish and boudin. We are coming down soon.
Yeah.
But I will not be sick.
All right. That you know of.
That's fair.
My wife, Lord, the Tism is arguing again. You know what? She can talk all the smack she wants. She asked for this life.
She did. She willingly encourages it continuously.
Yeah. All right. So AI for preparedness. I have a couple of thoughts.
Okay.
I think where AI is really going to shine for preparedness is kind of the strong points that AI has: research, aggregation, organization, prioritization, and efficiency.
Yeah, I could see you taking and using, say, like how you and I and Andrew threw together those, hey, how cheap can you do 2 weeks worth of food?
Yeah.
I bet you could take an AI now, probably a Claude or one of them, input your dietary parameters, input your budget, and tell it, get me the maximum amount of food per dollar in balanced nutrition that is shelf stable for X number of months. And it would probably spit out something reasonable. Now, granted, that's probably going to pull from like the government balanced nutrition thing, which we all know is horseshit.
Potentially. I mean, it's going to be the same problem as every other thing research in the internet gives you, is that it's garbage in, garbage out. But I feel like AI's strengths, like, I don't feel like AI excels at decision making.
No, but it's very good at data aggregation.
Very good at that. Also, not very good at nuance.
No.
I feel like if you give it a really explicit prompt, like, it'll go off and try to do what you're asking it to do. But like my whole thing with AI and my whole thing with automations too is always to tell people, like, look, this thing is basically a superpowered 3-year-old.
Right. It will do exactly what you told it. Especially
it is
when
not
it's
inventive. Wrong. It is not creative. It is not going to it is going to do exactly what you tell it at face value.
Probably. Look, it's very much like CNC machines, and I tell every time I train a new apprentice or a new intern, I tell them the same thing. Just like I just said, this machine will do exactly what you told it to do, especially when it's wrong. And we've trained AI on the internet.
Your wife is saying it's scary how similar we are.
Yeah, probably.
But the interesting part is how similar her and Gillian are.
I know. It's almost like they did it to themselves.
So I did want to just throw in here, like, I personally have not fooled around a lot with AI. I don't know. I'm just much more of like an automation bot programming kind of person. But I did build a couple of automations over my time that you could argue are kind of useful. I mean, I guess one's really for preparedness, and the other one just is like spousal crap. But like, I have one that sends my location and my ETA to Gillian.
Oh,
like, just text it all to her if I'm getting in my car to head home. And it's not like I'm leaving work, she knows about what time I'm going to get home. But like, if I'm at some place and I just want to let her know, hey, I'm heading home, press one button and it searches through, use the map to determine what my location is, screenshots the map with my location pinned on it, figures out my ETA back to home, and then sends her a text message saying, this is where I'm at, I'll be home in this much time. I
could see that being really useful if you had a couple of kids and you had it in the kids' phones, and they could be like, hey, just when you leave someplace, text me.
Yeah, and this isn't even like text me. This is literally like a widget on my on my lock screen.
But you know what I mean? Like, just hit the button. Then we know where you are. We're not tracking you. It just lets us know that you're coming home and about when to expect you.
Now, the other thing I built that is, I genuinely use this almost every day when I'm leaving work. So I have an automation built into my phone that I press one button. It knows where my work is, it knows where my home is, and I have two principal routes that I take to get home. Either I go over the Twin Span Bridge or over the Causeway Bridge, because those are like the two major bridges to get from anywhere in New Orleans back to the other side of the lake where I live. Now, 9 times out of 10, my preference would be to go home on the Causeway. But if there's ever a wreck on the Causeway or on the Twin Span, I really don't want to go that direction, because all of a sudden your trip home can suddenly start taking like substantially longer, like 45 minutes to an hour longer, depending on where it is.
Yeah.
And depending on how much rush hour traffic you're dealing with. So what this automation does is it looks at it figures out the route from my workplace to home, stopping through one town and then stopping through the other town to like force those two routes to diverge and go across the bridges. And then it gives me a very simple report where it says Causeway this many minutes, Twin Span this many minutes.
There you go.
And I know just from experience that those two routes, usually they're like 50 minutes plus or minus a minute or two in either direction. But I've had a couple of times where I've hit that, and one of them has said like 120 something minutes.
Not what you want at the end of the day.
That's the direction I'm not going home today. So I think we're, and I'm kind of lumping in bots and shortcuts and a lot of this stuff into it. Well, to be fair,
most AI are just bot automation at scale. That's really all it is. It's.
But I'm lumping all this together because, like, where I think preparedness could benefit from a lot of these more modern technologies is the idea that if there's something we're doing repeatedly, finding a way to automate it pays dividends.
Yeah.
And if automating a series of commands means that we're more likely to do the thing instead of just saying, I'm in the truck already, I'm ready to go home, I'm not trying to check the map and check the routes and all this stuff. The simple fact that it's a button press, and literally a lot of times I hit the button as I'm slipping my phone in my pocket when I'm getting up out of my desk at work. And by the time I've walked down 3 flights of stairs, I get a ding on my watch.
Mm-hmm.
And it's done all that. And before I even walk out the front door of the parking lot, I'm like, okay, I can go whichever way I want. Or probably better not go that way.
Yeah, that's great. That's a wonderful use of it. And I would imagine you could probably use one of these AI systems for a similar task. I don't know. I don't play with them much because I have too many other things I'm doing with my time. Maybe.
Well, then again, I also took that same automation and kind of ballooned it up so that now it's also location based.
Oh.
So when I'm at work, it figures out the time to get home. When I'm at home, it figures out the time to get to work, so that if there's a wreck on the way to work, I can divert around it, because I can look at it and say, oh, it's 50 minutes commuting time. That's about like normal. Or, oh, it's 120 minutes to get to work. What the hell happened? I should go find a way around it depending on where the wreck is. And I also programmed into it to where if I'm not at home or at work, it automatically figures out the drive time from wherever I am to get home.
Love how they call it agents. Love how they call it agents, because that does not at all bring to mind Agent Smith.
No, but I think the motivation there is trying to, like, as creepy as this might be to some of y'all, but like trying to humanize this thing so that...
Oh, it absolutely is trying to humanize it. And I will not stand for that, because they're not human. Even though if they ever are sentient, we need to treat them like they are.
I think if they ever become sentient, we should unplug them, but that's just me.
Yeah, but look, okay. This is a completely non-prepping guns or politics related subreddit, only in that I think we should treat all sentient things as though they're sentient.
I don't think
even if they're technological or biological.
I don't think we should go creating sentient things.
Probably not, at least not on accident. Like I make this same argument about like hookup culture and how you're playing Russian roulette with making people. You probably shouldn't do that with AI either.
Yeah, but the thing of it is that, like, The ability of humans to rapidly outpace the rest of humanity is theoretically fairly self-limiting, and the ability of machines to outpace humanity is almost a guarantee.
Well, sure, but I'm just saying from a morality and a responsibility standpoint, you shouldn't go creating sentient beings at random without care and forethought.
Yeah, but you and I will debate endlessly what random means, because I tend to think that the path that science has set itself on, it's not going to be random or accidental. It's a foregone conclusion that it's going to happen eventually.
No. It's not. Okay, so it's not whether or not it happens. It's when, where, and how it happens.
But that's like driving drunk and then saying I got into an accident. You were driving drunk. There was a plurality of.
I'm saying we shouldn't do that.
I guess. Well, okay. I guess I'm taking issue with the word accident, because it's like, no, it's not accidental. They're actively going to do it.
I'm using the colloquial form of accidental, I suppose, rather than the proper definition.
With your autistic friend that doesn't do anything colloquially.
Yeah,
words
I
have meanings, bud.
Problem lies. Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, like, I'm just saying, we shouldn't go willy-nilly creating sentient beings or constructs. It's probably not a good idea.
Oh, we absolutely shouldn't, but humanity does things willy-nilly.
Oh, yeah. No. I'm not saying that anybody's going to listen to me. They don't. Well, some of you listen to me, but I don't know if you take actions based on it.
That
we'll find out later.
That's slightly more terrifying. I'm just saying that I
have apprentices and interns that listen to me, and they actually do take actions based on my input.
I'm just saying that, like, I would really appreciate if we would stop fooling around with the thinking machines before I get strapped into a god machine and turn into a princeps. Just saying.
Let's just not.
Yes, Stuart, words have meanings, and you do tell me that often, and that's because you have a touch of autism too.
And 2 lawyers for parents.
Huh?
And lawyers for parents.
Yes. And lawyers for parents.
Look, Raggle, Bezos might have a plan. I don't like Bezos. I don't like his plans. I don't trust any of those fools.
I don't trust the plans of a person whose plan includes a bunker in case it goes wrong. Because you no longer have as much skin in the game as I do.
If I had the budget, I would also have a bunker in case their plan goes wrong.
Yes, but you wouldn't actively participate in the plan that you suspected was going to go bad enough that you would need the bunker.
I mean, as a guy that works in mass manufacturing, I absolutely do support the plan through my work that I know will probably go wrong. Because a lot of times I don't know what the things I make go into. I know what they make, but I don't know what that part does.
Guy that commented said he has a belt-fed 338. I think I'm ready for the robots.
I hope you do. I doubt you do.
But if someone out there does have a belt-fed 308, I just want to see it.
I don't think they make a belt-fed 338.
Nick?
Yes.
You're about to make a machine shop.
I can't make belt-fed weapons in Illinois.
You can make Gatling guns in Illinois.
Crank-fed from a stick mag, yes. Belt-fed, no.
Okay, you can make a Gatling gun.
Stick mag-fed 338 Gatling gun. Technically, yes, I could.
You're thinking about it.
Technically, yes, I could. I am actively thinking about it and working out the scaling factor in my head.
And this is
I'm going to get in so much trouble.
This is how bad decisions begin.
It is. I want to prove out the mechanism and the scaling factor first, but yeah. I mean, it's technically plausible. I mean, there's nothing stopping you. In fact, it would probably feed more reliably because it's not a rimmed case.
And it's bottleneck.
Huh. That's a thought. It would feed more reliably than 22 rimfire.
So what you're saying is there's a chance.
Oh, there's definitely a chance. I don't know if the barrel would fit on my lathe. I'd have to get a bigger lathe.
Oh, darn.
Oh, darn.
Oh, Rachel is going to slap the crap out of me when she sees me.
Probably. That's okay. You're a big man. You can handle it.
Yeah, I'm sure. All right. Do we have any other criticisms, talks in here about AI? Like, I personally, I think AI is like any other tool in your toolbox. Use it for the things it's good at. Don't try to use it for the stuff it's not good at. But please, for the love of Christ, if you use AI for anything preparedness related, please double check your results.
Oh, absolutely. It's like any other resource, even the stuff that me and Phil say on here. I mean, Christ, everybody knows here that I've been wrong more than a few times on air. I mean, my wife says no more machines. She did say the surface grinder was okay though, and the dust collector. That's for my health.
We'll wear her down.
It's a medically necessary dust collector.
And a Gatling gun, a 338 Gatling gun would be medically necessary as well.
It's an emotional support Gatling gun.
It's an emotional support Gatling gun. There you go. We're trying to manage your stress.
Exactly. And what makes me feel less stressed than a 6-barrel rotary firearm?
Chambered in a Christ almighty large cartridge.
Look, I already probably gave myself a mild concussion with my 300 Win Mag. How much possibly more could this go wrong?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get slapped. Definitely going to get slapped.
It's your fault.
Okay, well, I'll live with that. All right, I guess we'll punt this one out the door. We are rapidly approaching the 10th anniversary of Matter of Facts.
Good Lord.
So we're like less than 30 days away. Crap. If I were a really professional podcaster, I would be better prepared for these kinds of things.
Less than 30 days.
We are 4 weeks.
We
are 4 weeks away.
Yeah.
It is the 13th of August. So if you've been like sitting on the sidelines thinking of a good reason not to show up for a stream, then you should probably mark this one on your calendar. It'll be the 10th anniversary. I am told that original co-host Andrew is making to try to make an appearance.
Good. Good. We must celebrate.
There will be no topic that night. It will be just whiskey fueled mayhem and BSing, and maybe like talking through 10 years of podcasting and prepper camp and summer camp trips and just fun, but mostly whiskey fueled mayhem.
Yes.
So if anybody would like us to talk about something other than whiskey fueled mayhem, you'll just have to show up to that stream, and you'll also have to show up to see the thing that Stuart made for us that I'm not ready to uncork yet.
He did a thing, and it is pretty baller.
And then Gillian took the thing and turned it up to 11. So I'm thinking I might let that missile out the silo like the week before, just tease it. I'll tell everybody what it is. They're going to have to show up on the day of that stream to see what it is. Anyway, Matter of fact, it's going to go out the door. Use AI responsibly. Don't get yourself turned into a servo skull. And Christ almighty, if in a couple more years the nuclear weapons start flying around in the sky and you start seeing, metal men running around in the streets, I warned y'all and y'all didn't listen.
Yep.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.